Hello everyone and welcome back. In this part we are going to open up a background image so that we can see the accessories we need to model and get started. So we're going to open up one of our views here. Just go to, and we'll just open the front view. We don't need to scale it to the character, we just need to see what accessories we need to model. So change this to front and turn the opacity all the way up. Alrighty, so we need to model the wraps on the hands, the belts for his two knives, the belt that holds his sword, the holder, and his headband. So we'll get started with the details on the arms. So we can just hide this background image and go into our mesh here. And so one way we could go about this is we can use the actual geometry of the arm and duplicate it. However, you see this geometry is made to match the geometry of our sculpture, and so we have muscle detail in it. Just want to move that down. So another way we can do this is if we retopologize over it with the shrink wrap modifier. So just Shift S, cursor to center, and let's just Shift A. Let's make a circle. Make sure it has 12 vertices. Tab into edit mode. I'm going to rotate this on the x-axis 90 degrees. And then we're going to rotate it on the z-axis 90 degrees. I'm going to G to grab, bring this up. Going to scale this down over here, and then we're going to bring it inside the arm here. And so our background image has this part of the arm detail start right here at the edge of the bicep. So that's where we'll have it start here, about right here. And then we'll hit E for extrude, and Control L and Control N to make sure our normals are on the right side, and they are. Bring that back in. Make sure that smooth shading is turned on. So if we hide this, we can see that it's shaded smooth. And let's add our shrink wrap modifier. And so this target, or this object, we're going to name this object the body. So go to your item menu here on the end panel, type body, and I'm going to select that, and we're going to make the target the body. And we're going to make sure that it's on project and front. So now you see when we, and well, another thing we could do just so that we can see what it's doing better, we can change the offset a little bit. And there we go. So we got the offset on there. And just to also help us distinguish this better, we can turn off our matte cap so that it's back in its normal colored view. And we can add a material to this so that we can differentiate between the two objects better. So let's go add a new material. We'll give this kind of a tan color. Like so. And now we can better see our object. So let's tab into edit mode, and let's continue editing. Whoops. Alright, so I'm going to select this edge loop here and hit E to extrude. E to extrude again. E to extrude, and we can extrude all the way down to this part here. And we can E to extrude again. And we'll stop right at the base of the hand here. So now we can see that our object is deformed to the skin. And now we just need to add some edge loops on the inside so that it better conforms to the surface. And then we want to fix the angle of this, so we can just rotate it, bring it in, and we want to bring this in as well, bring this in. Just do the same for all the vertices, make sure they're relatively in the center of the arm. Add an edge loop in here. That'll get rid of some of that, and we can add a few edge loops, maybe in here and in here. So that's a little better. Alrighty, and so we can also apply this modifier now that we're finished with the base of it, and we can add a mirror modifier because he has the same setup on both sides of his arm. So let's go in here and let's scale these up a little bit. Add an edge loop in here and scale it up also. So now we're going to make the part that goes over his hand and through, and his thumb pokes through. So we're going to extrude these vertices here. Grab, smooth them up. Let's move this one up also. Delete that. Select that, move it out. And then we can select these here and move them up. Add an edge loop in there. Bring it down. Select these two vertices, hit F twice, make face. Hit Control R to add a new edge loop in there. Okay. And we can bring this part out here. Either extrude, G to grab, bring it down. Make that a face. Now we can connect this part here. Control R will add two edge loops there and bring them out. And we'll also bring this up. Scale these down, move them out. Either extrude, I'm going to extrude all this, make sure proportional editing is turned off, and just scale that down. Turn it back on, move it out, like so. And we have a vertex here, that's alright, just delete that. Okay, and let's look at our background image again. Okay, so the form of this is a bit exaggerated, but we're getting the gist of it. So we can stylize it a little more. Let's look at that again just to get a better, so I know exactly what we're Okay, and then let's turn the opacity down. Okay. So select this vertice here. We'll start bringing that down just to get some of the anime stylization going on. Bring this up. Have that come on. Alrighty, that's looking nice. And let's bring that back. That looks alright. We can move these up a bit. We can add an edge loop in there just for deformation later when we rig it. Alrighty, so that's this part, and I think I want to extrude this up some. Also, can move it on the y-axis and there. Okay. So we're going to add a solidify modifier to this and a subdivision surface so that we can see what it looks like when it's subdivided. And we're just going to move these up a bit. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the wraps that go around this piece of geometry here. So we're going to use the same method. We're going to use a shrink wrap modifier, and we can do this a bit quicker now that we have something to work with that's already in a cylindrical form. So we can just select this face here, or this row of faces, Shift D, duplicate that, P to separate the selection, and we're just going to add the shrink wrap modifier. And we're going to put it to, so this, we're going to call this object here, we're going to go up to our item. Here we're going to name this, we're going to name this arm cover. Arm covers. And we're going to make that the object is projecting on. And we're going to move this up the modifier stack. Alright. We're just going to scale this down. I'm actually going to get rid of the rest of these modifiers. Just while we work. We can hide the body. Oh, I added the wrong modifier. I'm going to go to shrink wrap, not simple deform. Change this to arm covers. Okay, good. So we can unhide the body now. And make sure it's project and on front. And Alrighty, and then we'll make sure you change the offset to about 0.01. Alrighty, and we're going to extrude. Oh yeah, make sure the offset is probably at 0.2. And we're just going. So we have that. Don't need to extrude much, but what we do want is to duplicate. So we're going to duplicate these, and this is going to be our first row of wraps. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to move it like this. I'm going to duplicate this one around like that. Scale it in so that it's on the inside. And make sure to move these on the y-axis also to ensure that they're inside of the mesh. Shift D, duplicate this one. And we're going to rotate that one a little bit. And I'm going to bring it down. Shift D, duplicate it again, scale it down. I'm going to rotate it this way. And then we're going to duplicate it one more time. Rotate it. Well, we could actually do that on our second row. So we're just going to delete that. Alright, so we have our first bit of wraps here. And we're going to make a new set. So Shift D, duplicate that. P, separate by selection. Go into, so we can hide some of these so that we can select the right one. There we go. We can unhide the rest of these so we know which one to look for. And we can get started with the second group of wraps. So I'm going to that in and change the offset from 0.02 to 0.015 so that they're kind of beneath the other ones. Or matter of fact, just change this one to 0.3 or 0.03 so that it's on top of the other ones. Well, other ones will be the ones on the bottom. Just going to move this in. Shift D, duplicate that. Duplicate that. Or we can actually have a few sets on here and we can get to those later. So that's that. It's a nice one here. And we can rotate it though. Shift D, duplicate that one. Can rotate that one this way. And again, be mindful of the location inside of the mesh. Alrighty, so we have our wraps. And we're going to join both of these, or whoops, we're going to apply the shrink wrap on both of these first. And we can then join them. We'll name these arm wraps. We'll name these arm wraps. Arm wraps. And then we can add the mirror modifier. Whoops. Mirror modifier. And then we can add, oh, did I apply it? That's what I did. And make sure the mirror modifier wasn't working properly because the object center was off. Just hit Control A and apply the rotation, the location, and the scale. That way when we add the mirror modifier it works properly. And we're going to add a subdivision and a solidify. So now we can go in and edit these individually to ensure that they're on top of the geometry. We can just hit regular proportional editing just to make sure everything's on top of the cover, and then we can worry about whether they're on top of each other or not. And I think for the most part they are good to go. So we can then go back to proportional or connected proportional editing rather, and we can move these guys out from intersecting with one another. Alrighty. So those are the arm wraps and the arm accessories. So in the next part we're going to, let's see which part we're going to do. So we have the arms. Next part we'll do the belts or the straps and holder for the knives. So I'll see you guys then.